canon. Disney did it. They wiped the whole
EU.
Those Disney comics, they're canon until the movies say they're not canon. But
well, see, is that part of the problem then? Having everything be connected, like do a movie and just do.
Well, no, that's not the issue. I think the issue is trying to connect something and then say it's not connected. I even recently we talked about this with Nerdman on my recent stream where we talked about the Flash film, how it changed what the canon Justice League film was, and mind you, it's connected to a universe. The canon Justice League film for the Flash is Zack Snyder's Justice League, but in Aquaman, which is connected to Flash, the canon Justice League movie is a 2017 film, and that was the director and the writers who chose to do that because they want to, honor Zack Snyder and all that. But it's like there's a canon you're supposed to run with, which is part of the reason why DC was so messy. You literally changed what the canon Justice League movie was that each film after is supposed to follow. That's wild. That's like
there's a story.
That's like if Secret Invasion said, okay, we're going to connect ourselves to the extended cut of Avengers Infinity War that nobody's seen. Mm-hmm. And not the theatrical version.
I think once again,
you can't just do what you want. You have to follow what is established in this big world you connected.
I think 900 years old, he can have more. Irrelevant.
900 years old, the homie can have more than one lightsaber for F6. He can, but Charles Soules gave a frivolous answer as opposed to a concrete one.
Hey, but I will say, I gotta dip out of here, but I will say that's just an issue of not having that answer. It's the MCU. Like at the end of the day, you gotta have that answer. Like Armor Wars is coming up. You could say we're revealing that in Armor Wars. You'll see that in Armor Wars. Right. That's just as simple as you gotta be. If you don't know it, you can make that up. So it's to me that's like part of the issue of what's been going on with these Disney Plus shows. If it was a movie, who knows if it's still been the answer like that. Like I think they put more time and attention into that. With the Disney Plus shows, I don't think anything's planned out beyond that show. So it's
they're trying to retcon without any definite answer. I think that's the bigger issue.
Yeah.
All right, Kendall, tell them who you are and what you do.
I'm King Kunch over there on King Kunch. It's my YouTube channel. But anyway, holla at me over there. Shorts, videos, live streams. You know what it is. I'll holla at y'all. Peace.
Bye. And Sergio, who also was in here, had to dip. If he returns, he returns. But if not, the House of Nerd Show. If you are a fan of the writer Chip Zdarsky, who does Batman and some other independent work, which is kind of where they focus on, he will be with them tomorrow, Chip Zdarsky. That'll be, I think, 3 o'clock, he told me. When they'll be. Would you ask?
Daredevil?
He does Daredevil as well. Yeah, he does that. Sorry.
A couple more issues anyways.
I said Batman.
No, he does Batman too. You're right.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I went with Batman.
Oh, because you're a closet DC fan?
Because I recognize where the money resides. Mm-hmm. And I'm a closet DC fan.
I'm a closet DC fan. For sure.
DC fan.
He's been hanging out with K-Dot too long.
He's converting me. And James Gunn after Guardians 3.
But what if I said his Daredevil run was better than his Batman run?
I could say you're right. I don't know. Who cares? Batman's Batman.
Well, you're talking about where the money is. I mean, wouldn't talent be a form of equity?
Okay, where the talent is.
Mm-hmm. Chillmonger is nothing but Elon Musk X-Men. You are a X-Men that cannot be trusted, Chillmonger. We're all X-Men now.
Anyways, Scotty, did he not literally say, I think we will find out in Armor Wars? But with you saying that, it just means that you don't have the answers to your own show. What you were trying to do, you don't even know what you were trying to do.
Yeah, he never even said that. He just said, I think he was taken at that time. A lot of directors do it, but it does get annoying. Just say, we'll find out eventually in Armor Wars.
But is that a Marvel thing, though? Because Marvel's usually the one that has their plan, right? So if that's the case, Marvel should have told him, like, listen, this is when Rhodey became the Skrull. Maybe he didn't want to reveal it, but he should know that.
It seems very much...
That's what Anzo, like the example I gave with the Flash, the director chose to make the Zack Snyder Justice League film canon when that's not the canon that was fault. Like, that was a director's fault. That wasn't even a studio thing.
Wait, you think DC allowed him to do that? Is what you're saying?
Yes, someone allowed him to do it because he made that the canon one in the movie, and they clarify it twice.
Well, see, this sounds like the Marvel's going back to the Brand New Day era of having rotating, like with this. I mean, these are the movies and the TV show, so it's different. But if you're trying to sync things up, then you need to have communication between the projects, so you know what you can talk about, what you can refer to, and what you can't. You can't can't just do something like that, or else you'll be DC. So
absolutely
right. They definitely need somebody in charge of continuity for sure.
Yes.
Dang, you guys say DC like it's a bad thing, man. What did DC do to you guys?
Took my money
and made crap.
Good. Thank you for the money. We sure need it.
They made Jon Stewart trash. Hey, did anyone see
what they're bringing Red Lantern? Did you see that? Red Lantern, Golden Age, Red Lantern.
Yeah, the more the merrier. keep on doing that. Look, I was talking about Wakanda. Killmonger was wrong. Killmonger was right. Does anyone have an opinion on that? Because me and Nerdman disagreed.
Killmonger was right. I don't know that whole video that you did shouldn't exist because he's right.
So I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
Well, it was during K-Dot's live stream or somewhere in the 4-hour mark. But don't worry, my video will be 16 minutes of that, okay? And I said, Mike, that Killmonger viewed black people, so anyone with a dark skin tone, in a view that the Wakandans don't. Because what Wakandans did 10,000 years ago when the meteorite came, they said, you're an outsider if you're outside of this country. I don't care how outside you are. You could be the country next door, or you could be over another continent. You are considered an outsider. And so, okay, your turn, Mike. Say what you want to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. Keep going. I didn't hear anything that you. Yeah,
so when Killmonger comes and says, "Hey, Wakanda, black folk oppressed, come, let's rally up and save them." Wakanda's like, "No, you guys are foreigners too. Just because there was a lot of colonization and harm done to the people who've got dark tones, and we have dark tones, it doesn't mean anything." Like
that's y'all. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think there's flaws in his logic and definitely in his methodology of dealing with it.
Well,
because Killmonger,
definitely, we all agree there with the logic and his execution of how he does it. But I'm also saying that likening people to act on your behalf because of the way that you guys appear doesn't apply to Wakandans. It's as silly as if I said, hey, everybody with brown hair, he's just like me, and I gotta stick up for. Did he go to the other countries with brown hair and say, "Hey, look, brown-haired people are being under attack"? It's as weird as that.
Well, no, because he was folding it into his heritage, because he knew who his father was. It just so happened that it happened to be a nation of black people, so he tied it into that, and he made it about like he was. I don't want to say multitasking, but he was like, it just happened to coincide. He was using that. He's like, and he also wanted to get revenge for what they did to his dad and stuff.
So his dad is his dad, and then there's 99.9% of everyone else Wakandan who doesn't experience what his dad experienced. The over police communities, and they put drugs here. Yeah, his dad had to live that as well as Killmonger himself, right? Both Eric Stevens and his dad.
But see, people who have that way of thinking rarely think about how their experience might not be other people's experiences, and they try to force their experience onto other people.
Killmonger was wrong.
No, but I agree. He was right though.
Yeah, also people with blue eyes and blonde hair need our help. We will go out and help these people because they are being oppressed by everyone else. And we will be victorious.
That voice was too good. I don't think I can monetize this video anymore.
That was creepy. I was like, when did Hitler just join the call? Like, that's just.
Well, like I said, I didn't disagree with both Chill and Nerdman because, like I said, Killmonger's ideology was right.
No, you should never agree with Nerdman. So
I mean, he was preaching though.
Anyway, continue.
But Killmonger was right and wrong. He was right in saying that, yes, Wakandans, you guys are pretty much, you guys kind of are cowards for not doing anything or just sitting there and turning a blind eye and letting all this happen to your continent. Mind you, we know Africa was separated by tribes. It was more associated by tribes. It wasn't really associated by. It wasn't unified by country or even skin color.
Yeah.
But for them to be this, for T'Challa to have the mentality he has and to allow all that stuff to happen, even at that time, it's like, whatever. But Killmonger wasn't right for imposing his ideology and way of life onto this other country because they're minding their business. A lot of countries should just mind their business in general. The USA, Russia, all of them. But
see, when you mind your business, though, that's when
bad stuff starts to happen.
Yeah.
Treating people like a monolith is an issue, as well as trying to police the whole world always becomes an issue.
Don't disagree.
We cannot stand idly by and watch this happen without our conscience being affected.
And we're out of here.
Yeah, man, that's the Killmonger talk, I guess. Does Onzo want to chime in on any of this?
That's it.
The Killmonger time.
I mean,
It's not 2 hours yet.
So could we at least be a little bit okay? Because look at like this with the Wakandans. They already had their walls breached once. Claw came in there and took their stuff. So just because you kind of get messed with a couple of times, like it does eventually start to become your problem. Their vibranium that they're supposed to have was in Captain America hands. Shield had it, even Iron Man had it. They're not, and people just coming in taking their stuff. Then you get to Wakanda Forever. Namor just swimming in there and just doing all this stuff.
Swimming in that shit.
And easily just swimming in there. And then they can't even detect where he's at and stuff. It's like, I get it. You are separated by a tribe, but you allowed your whole continent to be taken over. Your continent. Well, I'm not saying they need to go deal with America problems or go do problems in Asia. Your continent.
Yeah, fine. But the continent means nothing. You know what the continent means? It means that there were a series of earthquakes and volcanoes that launched to create the Earth's crust until it melted and people settled here. We're supposed to be associated with you because of that? Like, nah, that's weird. We're Wakanda, and we said these are our borders.
Joe, I'll be honest with you. If Russia tried to invade the U.S., they're not going to let Russia take New York. They're not going to let them take any states. If you mess with one of us, you're going to get all of us.
Yeah, all of United States is one place. Yeah.
Hell, even if Russia tried to like take over parts of South America, that's still too close to us. We're not going to let you get some parts of South America. You better get up out of here and go back to where you stay at. And if they mess with Canada, we're going to come and save the day and have your back, right?
Canada got that. Canada got themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Stop it. After that,
they got their horses and mooses.
Remind me to show you something after Chill.
If Russia messes with you guys, we are having Canada's back because your home is too close to our home, and if Russia gets your home, we're screwed.
What are you going to show me?
It's not just a part of that. It's just that we are part of the United Nations, right? So we're allies. So yes, but
we wouldn't even let Russia have a sleepover in Cuba.
Right, exactly.
Why is it okay for Wakanda to have a wall, but it's not okay for Trump to build his wall?
So,
is that the serious question?
Chill asked me if I don't think Killmonger was 100% wrong. I understood what he was trying to do, right? Okay. He comes from a place where, whatever, racism, whatever you want to say, whatever his issue was. Now you go to a nation with a bunch of your people and seeing they are most technically advanced more than anyone else in the world. But while we're out there in America struggling and, in poverty and not getting the right stuff in our schools and stuff, you can help us. And Wakanda just turned their blind eye on them. Because remember, most Black people came from Africa.
Wakanda may share the land that's
now that you say now that like not to cut you off, but now that like Anzo like kind of broke that down. Yeah, Killmonger was right. Like, because look at what happens in Wakanda Forever. Now they just like they're just wide open, and if they would just listen to Killmonger, they could have probably avoided that invasion and all that stuff. And
Now you have
avoided
other
those problems.
countries trying to invade them and take their resources. Remember in the beginning of the movie, they had those French soldiers jump on the ship trying to take their stuff.
Sure.
It's like I
they
get
can
it.
fight. They can fight French soldiers, but to Anzo's like talk, you keep saying you said it twice. You called them black people. This club that the Wakandans don't consider themselves or signed up for. When you say black people, are you just mean like their skin tone is dark and therefore, oh, we have something in common, we must be alike? Because that doesn't apply. Everyone outside of Wakanda, those neighboring countries, were quote black people. They were dark skinned. What do you mean by black?
So here's the thing. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, Killmonger's only looking for where he lives, right? We don't know that if once Killmonger takes, does what he had to do in America, that he wouldn't start expanding the world to say, okay, we're oppressed over here. Let's go over here and help these black people. Let's go over here and help these black people. Like you can say whatever you want to, but at the end of the day, black is black, right? If I'm black, I'm black.
No,
yes.
not in Wakanda.
Why not in Wakanda?
Because they don't have the lived experiences that unite what everyone, whether you're in Jamaica or Nigeria or Harlem, New York, what that uniting factor or in the challenges that they all have and they can share. The Wakandan, it is foreign to them, that thing.
But that's not what makes us black, though.
What makes you black?
Is
the
our
pigmentation?
Exactly. It's
okay.
Because we all have different type of, you know what I mean? We all have different type of experience. I can't say my experience here in Canada is the same as is in America.
But you got the same enemies, though. You got the same forces that are trying to oppress you and hold you down. But in Wakanda, since they kind of just kept to themselves in their border, they're just like, oh, I guess your skin's dark because your parents and your family is somewhere where there's a lot of sunlight. So what does that got to do with us?
I see what you saying, Chill, because like they don't see themselves as black folk. They see themselves as Wakandans. They don't even reference themselves as black.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say,
I disagree.
Are you border? Are you mountain? Are you river tribe? Which one are you?
Hold on. I disagree. I think they see them because if you go in real times, Africans don't think that American blacks and Canadian blacks are blacks. So Wakanda would probably think that they are more black than Americans, right? Because if
we
you
got to stop saying black right now, man. We got to stop saying black. It's a bad word. Well, let's be more definitive. I'll stop saying it too. Do we need melanated? Like, what do we mean when Africans say, "Oh, the ones that are over there in the Americas, they're not black"? What do they mean by they're not black, Anzo?
Pure blood.
Well, exactly.
Pure blood.
That's
initially what it goes down to.
Not just pure, but I would say colonized instead of saying the other word I'm gonna want to say, right? So again, to them, it's like, yeah, you have the skin color, but over here in Africa, we're the originals.
Okay.
That's how they feel. You know what I mean? Even Haitians, I had a bunch of Haitian friends where they were like, oh, you guys, when they first came up here from their country, they didn't see us as melanated people. They didn't see us as them because they felt the islands, the original, you know what I mean? So they felt like they were more melanated than we were. They used to tell us that all the time growing up. You guys ain't black. You guys ain't black. You're not black. You're kind of Canadian. You're Canadian. So it's kind of different. I can't explain why they feel it that way because I'm not African or Asian. But at the same time, they never considered us as we were black.
Rosales?
Well, I always considered myself Mexican until I walk out of the house and I speak to somebody who speaks purely Spanish, and they consider me to be a white guy.
Right.
Some neighborhoods will consider me not to be a white guy, and definitely everybody who lives in our country, when we go to Mexico or South America, are considered white. So there are no real Latinos, according to everybody who is a Latino and claims to be a Latino, because nobody else is except for themselves.
So we're talking about having your authenticity question. You didn't finish your sentence. Finish.
No, I was just going to say that, there's a lot of people who will find a reason to exclude you from any type of membership in one degree or another. You got to remember that the Africans that got sold were captured by other Africans.
So they say.
So they say, but you look at how much dysentery killed these people when they were going overseas. These white people, there's no way they would have survived on the interior of the African plains by themselves to go round them up. Plus, it's easier and cheaper to trade goods and barter for things. So it just seems to me like it would have been easier to buy them if they were there available, ready to sell.
Right. And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like when it comes to like the Wakandans or just black people in general, or Mexicans or white people or anybody in general, is people aren't a monolith. No race is, and you can't boil it down by that. So that's why I think, like this thing is like Wakanda would be like, okay, Wakandans are our people. Not every black person out there in the world is our people. Just the exact same way.
And I see how these Haitians.
Sorry, Chill. I was just gonna say, to your point, you're right, because me and Daddy say this all the time. Not every white person is our enemy, and not every black person is our friend. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show that it's more or less about the character or whatever. So what were you gonna say, Chill?
Well, yeah, back to the conversation with Wakanda and Killmonger being absolutely incorrect. Like his reasons for being angry exist, and I don't discredit any of that. Of course, he should be upset, but to look at the Wakandans as guys who can be like, "Oh, you guys will understand." No, if for some reason a country like Togo got all this money, resources, they had their defenses up and weapons as we're advanced, and that happened. And if Killmonger goes to Togo and he's like, "Hey, let's undo the negative effects that we just been through over the last 400 or 500 years," I'm gonna look at Togo and say, "You better." Right, Kidot?
That's why I can agree, because what Killmonger wanted to do, he was trying to go to even though he is Wakandan too, like his dad was born in Wakanda, and he got with a colonized girl, whatever. He should have went. Now there was no country besides Wakanda that exists like this in the Marvel universe, but if he went to, like, let's say Jamaica, and they was like a Wakanda type of place, okay, it makes sense, because that's going to be people that's going to relate more to what you was going through, because Wakandans didn't go through that. But still, I think with Killmonger's plan at the end, what the Wakandans wanted to do was separate from what Killmonger wanted to do, because Killmonger wanted to take over all the countries that was oppressing black people.
That's where his problem was.
The Wakandans, what Kabi made it specific, we want to show the world that we are not to be messed with.
The Conquered and the Conqueror.
You already killed our king. You came in here and stole our vibranium, and Wakabi was like, we cannot let this happen again. We are looking like a weak nation, and that's where that little separation was, because Wakabi doesn't care about other black people in other countries like that.
No,
he cares about.
He said, you bring them in, they bring their problems in. He said,
yeah, he is about his nation, and Killmonger is all about we need to just kill all the oppressors.
Killmonger was trying to be like Funny Mustache Man.
But you see, that's where Wakanda was wrong, right? Because regardless of what you say, your people are over here suffering, and you have enough technology as to where you can help them. I'm not saying to take over. I'm saying to help them where they're not suffering as much.
The reason
Wakanda didn't do that.
The reason I shook my head vehemently to where a hair strand came out of the hair band is because you said your people are it's not your people.
Yes, it is. We're all our people.
Why are you applying what you believe to Wakandans? I mean, within Marvel, pretend they're real people. Within Marvel, Wakandans don't say you're my people.
But that's where they're wrong.
They're absolutely correct, because they've been team mind my own business for the last 10,000 years. They don't care how dark you are, light you are, how tall you are, how anything you are that resembles a Wakandan. They say you guys are foreigners because you're outside these walls. They're not your people. That's the disagreement here.
Right, but they are your people, because all black people's roots are from Africa. So regardless of what you want to say, our roots are from there. So we are still their people. What do you think white people used to tell us all the time? Go back to Africa.
That brings up
from Africa.
For the second
that brings
time,
up the argument that everybody's from Africa then.
Well, yeah, technically, yeah.
I mean,
technically,
so then we're all their people.
Okay, 10,000 years ago, that was the case. All humans were from Africa. And even then they decided, okay, these are the lines, nobody cross it, or we will kill you if you do. They always viewed that when that was always the case, that they
Chill.
that
Let me
everyone's from Africa.
throw this into the mix.
No, let's go to me and Anzo. Just like we can't keep.
Well, it's a join in on your thing because let me add this into the mix to another thing for y'all to think about. Now, Killmonger was born in America due to his dad being a war dog over there chilling and collecting information. Now, do you think Killmonger was the only like firstborn Wakandan in another country?
Like no, probably others, probably.
Okay, that's the thing. Now, there's probably other Wakanda. I don't think Killmonger was the only Wakandan that was ever left behind. Because there's probably some Wakandans that was probably snatched up by the slave trade. Let's say it was walking out one day of the Wakandan borders and they got, pulled. And you got other Wakandans that are left behind in
what happens in Vegas.
So even if they're not going to help out other black people, I mean, they're not even helping out their own Wakandans. Their king left his nephew behind.
That's what Nakia was out there doing in the first Black Panther movie. Was out there saving their people.
Exactly.
Shouts out Nakia.
That's what I'm saying.
What she was doing out of her own free will, because she was a person who thought that it was okay to help and provide aid, was she was also playing the role of a spy and collecting information on the outside for the case of Wakanda. During that, she was like, let me exercise this. And out of the goodness of her heart, and that's fine. If they want to choose to do that, fine. If Wakandans want to choose to give aid to others, that's also fine too. But they are not responsible. When Anzo brought up that the white people say go back to Africa, they say it all the time. That hardship, that is not a lived experience that Wakandans have ever had to face before. They were never under that condition to where a white guy can tell them go back to where you're from, because they never left where they were from unless it's on a vacation or something like that. They don't leave the place where they're from, and they don't have.
But just because they didn't experience that doesn't take away from who they are. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. It does not, because
I can't let how the white man view.
Though.
If I'm a Wakandan, I can't let the opinion of what a white man thinks of me identify me. I can't let their mindset of who I am and how I'm a blank be that's how you think about me. Okay, everyone else who they think about like that, we're all on the same team. No, not really. Now, if they were victims of colonization and more than just thoughts, right? If we actually, I'm acting like I'm a Wakandan, but if we Wakandans actually went through what the white man put all the other places in Africa through, then same team. Like we actually do kind of have some sort of responsibility towards each other.
But even though they haven't been through it, when you see your people going through plight, you're gonna feel it, regardless of whether you have it. Because
you're assuming a relationship between some people that have never met. Let's say there's somebody in New York City who looks like me, who talks like me, who acts like me, and somebody runs him down and ties him to a truck like they would in Texas and drags him across some state lines or whatever. And I learn about that some 60, 70, 90 years later. How am I supposed to go to them or people that are familiar with that or that look like that and say, hey, I just found out what's going on and we're all the same thing. So here's my stuff.
Right. So
I'm gonna prop you back up.
I'm gonna give you an example.
I don't, it's if somebody looks like me and somebody has an experience, that's their experience, but it does not reflect on me what somebody else thought about those people. I can't hate some people that hated somebody else before I was even around.
Absolutely. 100%. But what I'm saying is you can sympathize with it, right? So for example, when George Floyd was murdered, we all sympathize with it. Why? Because we seen ourselves in what they did to him. 100%, chill. 100%.
To some
because
people,
if it was a white dude, you wouldn't have felt the same way.
Okay. If it was a white dude, it would be a totally different dynamic than what actually it was, right?
Just to say, regardless of what the dynamic was.
He would have got a ticket for passing a
you
$5
see a
bill
cop on a white man. You would probably think that's fucked up, but you wouldn't feel the same way as you did when you seen it being one of your people.
No. It's because of the history and the placement that somebody who's as dark skinned as George Floyd is, and the dehumanization from Derek Chauvin and some of those other cops. That you don't have to be. It doesn't matter how you look. The way that George Floyd was treated was a racial hate crime.
100%. But you felt it more because it was yours.
If
right?
that's
because
the way you think,
people.
that's not the way Wakandans think. They don't go, well, I'm just as dark as them, so therefore we must ride out for them. They don't think that way.
They also had Wakandans in the States. They had Wakandans living out there. So they had Wakandans experiencing the stuff that they were going through.
They were on a mission, and that's not 100.
I mean,
I can
matter. They were.
I can see that.
Wait,
I can see that Chillmonger's experiences in the Americas would lead to him thinking the way that he does and feeling the way that he does and wanting to do what he did the way that he did it because of those experiences. However, it ran afoul of the Wakandans because they didn't share that same experience, which solidifies Chillmonger as the outsider. Did I say Chillmonger?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Solidified Killmonger as the outsider.
Yes. And I've been derailed. So someone else go where I was going.
So
lost my.
Yes, 100%. They didn't experience it, but at the same time, as I said, when you see people that look like us going through that kind of stuff, there is sympathy there. So I'm not saying what Chillmonger did was completely right, but I understood where he was coming from.
All right, then now I understand your point completely. I don't think there's any more back and forth to go to. Looking like the way that you look, if you see others who are just as dark as you experiencing something, then you should consider them, because they're just as dark as you should consider them part of your team. That's what you're going off of, just off of skin color. Okay, that's fine.
But let's get back to the Marvel issue of it, because he was essentially using them to further whatever his goal was. Like he's like, okay, hey, you guys, this is what they've been doing out here, and you all have the technology that can help us fight back, fight these people. While he was also, again, claiming whatever he felt his birthright was. So he wasn't doing this from a completely altruistic way of like, well, I gotta fight oppression and whatever else. That just happened to be a side, because I think in the end he was essentially selfish in what he was doing, but he was just wrapping it around the, hey, you know what, we're black and they're oppressing us, and you got the tools that we can use to fight it, so you should be doing something, and I'm gonna make sure that you do. While it also helped with his personal the personal aspect of it. So
do you guys think it's warped that the Ukrainian refugees were being treated with a red carpet just because that they looked a certain way, and it feels like they get treated much more respect from media outlets as well as the countries who take them in?
Well, was it because they looked a certain way, or because they were just through war?
I'm going off of the way that they looked.
War. There's a lot of refugees that come out of different countries in that part of the country, lower down, or in Africa, wherever, that are going through war, that are being oppressed by the government, corrupt government, or even drug dealers and drug lords. The point is that just because they had center stage and TV and were right there in Europe, they got treated far differently than the other refugees that were coming across the border.
There's a lot of that have to do with because they looked like your European places, which are well off and have the resources to help out. Is the way that they looked, did that come in favor to them?
I couldn't tell you. I wasn't there. I didn't receive them.
If Anzo's still there, I don't know. He got.
Yeah, I'm still here.
So, don't you think it's kind of wrong that just because the Ukrainians look like white folk, their skin tone is light. Just because they have that appearance, they got a lot of privileges. Like, that's crazy, because this wasn't happening in Afghanistan a few years ago, like, well, damn, everyone loves the Ukrainians, and everyone's got the flag on their profile picture, and just the attention and the humanization that's happening is crazy, and it's wrong, isn't it? Yeah, I love the last because he's like, damn, I know where you're going.
I know what Chill's trying to do right now. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say I wouldn't necessarily say that, right? At the same time, I do understand what you're saying. I agree, because of certain situations, they don't go as hard as they do when it looks like them, right? But that's a fact, though. That is just the way it is, though. You know what I mean?
I think
that's all I'm going to say on that.
I think if we're because the people in France don't have nothing to do with the people in Ukraine. The people in England and Ireland, they don't care. Canada, what's this Ukraine thing? But same skin tone, and so they have to and I just think that's a wrong thing to do. Just like people just because of their skin tone. Now, if there's
that's where you're going with that, because you're saying that, and then you're gonna twist it back to the Wakanda stuff and say that. Yeah, I know what you're going. I know what you're doing, Chill.
See, but he didn't randomly pick Wakanda because they had the same skin tone as him. There was an underlying reason that he did.
Yeah, and he was part Wakandan, regardless. Right. You know what I mean?
But I'm only going to this route because Anzo kept saying your people and some of the things he was saying. I wasn't using this against Eric Killmonger. Not because Ukrainians are white, so other Europeans will sympathize with them more, and that's wrong of them to do that just because their skin tone is light. No, they're humans who are going through tragedy. Treat them and respectfully treat them. Yeah, sure. Right. Now keep that same love for these places here. Like nothing for out of Palestinians, Syrians, Somalis here in the United Kingdom.
But see, I don't know how it is up in Canada, but down here in America, we have this thing called optics. And what happens is, like, if they're able to boost whatever social standing they might have by saying, hey, look what we're doing to these poor, Ukrainians who are going through it because Ukraine is the topic of the moment or whatever, then they're going to elevate that to get that cred that they crave so desperately.
Remember when Bill O'Reilly said the Asians are the model minority? Ukrainians are the model refugees.
Crazy.
So what you're saying is that if this was a brown country getting taken over by Russia, would we take those refugees? No, refugees are taken in regardless. The treatment and overall sentiments and just the movement that I'm experiencing now and coverage of a Ukrainian refugee and their struggle is more loving than the past. One was 2001 is when the planes hit the towers, right? And every Arab country that suffered from it and every single strife. And then there's other examples that we can go to.
Well, they get hot meals instead of the MREs.
Because the plane one was a little bit different, right? The plane one was a little bit different. They pretty much blamed all Muslims and everything for that. So they seen them in a different light. Didn't matter. You know what I mean? Now we're talking about if, let's say, Russia or one of those countries went into, I don't know, let's just say Africa and tried to take over Africa. Would they treat them the same way as they're treating the Ukrainians? I think they probably would. And it would only be because, no, let me tell you why. Because Russia is a threat. So anytime you can get someone to take out Russia or help them with that, that would be a reason why they do it. I don't think it's all because, yeah, go ahead.
No. So then yes, just because Russia's doing it, then there would be a movement of like pro the African country that's being
right.
But they just wouldn't hit, I don't think, the same as the way I'm seeing the love that the Ukrainians are getting. And again, I didn't say it the first time. I'm not mad at anyone for being Ukraine and being oppressed. It is not your fault that you're being treated like a human or you're getting this privilege of more attention and that. It's not the fault of Ukraine at all. We don't hate anyone here. We're just recognizing the difference in tension and the movement. That's all I'm saying.
But again, it goes to the optics, though. It doesn't go to. I don't think it goes to their skin tone or whatever it is. It's.
Okay, I do.
Especially Anzo added another layer to it. It's because it's Russia that did that, and
and
it has more to do with the location of the country and the border with Russia. You're kind of taking it somewhere I'm not going.
But I also think it would do a lot too, right? Because everything's political. So who's in power in America at the time? Is vote coming up or something like that? Because when that happens, then they go the extra mile, right? So let's say all that came into place and Russia was going into Africa. I 100% think they would treat it the exact same way, because it would be for political gain. And I think the same way it's with what's going on in Ukraine now. A lot of it has to do with political gain.
But see, it's like they do that. Like Chill brought up 9/11. Like they only remember 9/11 on 9/11. It's like never forget, but they forget every other day except 9/11. And the same thing like with Christmas. Like Christmas is the one day out of the year that you got to be good to people, and then the other 364, be as miserable as you want. It's like religion when you can be a truly awful person and despicable and all that, but you go to confession that one day. Oh, your slate is clean and continue. You're good. You're good for the next week. Like that's ridiculous.
Those are some heavy loaded words that you just hit us with, and we're far from Killmonger and the acceptance of our people and your people and all that stuff. Next topic is Loki. That is the next show that's coming up. Does anyone wants to give a final speech about that show? Because I don't care. I wasn't into the first season of Loki. It had a lot of time variance shenanigans that didn't really matter to the real reality of the MCU. It's not like shows even that take place within the real reality mattered to the real reality. But whatever, bro. I'm.
See, I can't take your comments as serious because I know you're anti-multiverse. So
I'm anti-multiverse. I just think that anything that they do, any characters they introduce to, and variants that we see, aren't going to matter later on. So what's the point of seeing it and getting invested? Loki season 2, unless Kang is the only thing that matters, because he's supposed to be the big villain. Let's see how he progresses. Let's see him finally get a win, because he shouldn't have lost in Quantumania.
Well, how do you think they're going to be doing reshoots because of the Jonathan Major situation? Or have they done reshoots, or are they going to edit it? Or are they going to, what do you think it's going to be the same?
No, they saw the video of the TMZ at the club, and they're like, oh, he definitely didn't put hands on her.
You think so? Okay.
I'll tell you, I'm not looking forward to Loki. I mean, wasn't really into the first one either. Michael Waldron isn't a very good writer. A lot of the writing in that show, I mean, the things they did in the show kind of, how would you say, defeat their own... what they set up in the show in the first place, and it's just kind of sloppy multiverse stuff. And I think a lot of that is the writer's fault, and it's very subpar.
Yeah, because that show was, honestly, it was going to be coming out regardless, but that show was a treatment to fix what Endgame messed up with the time travel, because that's the movie that should have kind of set up the time travel, but it made it so confusing and wonky that it's like, oh shit, we got to hurry up and put a band-aid on this and try to fix it or something.
But the TVA is not dealing with time travel necessarily. They're just monitoring time, trying to keep the sacred timeline in order. And the thing is, you can go and change things in times, and it's okay as long as the TVA says it's okay for you to do things, because they even say in there, certain variants doing things aren't really a big deal. That's why Loki was on trial. They even said that in his trial. What he was doing was basically not approved. What the Avengers did was okay.
Yeah. Which was...
I think they're going to do good Kang, bad Kang. And I think that's what's going to happen here is we're going to have bad Kang defeated by good Kang. And, it's just going to waste 6 more nights.
Ahsoka is where it's at. Disney Plus, set your timers at 3 a.m. because I don't care.
I'm there for Ahsoka.
Chill, I want you to look into your crystal ball, and I want you to tell me if they stay and they double down with Jonathan Majors, what is the social media response to that going to be? And how many videos are you going to make about it?
Firstly, what you need to recognize is that every time there was an update on this case, I made a video. And when there wasn't, I wasn't. I even asked a couple members of my channel, and they all said, no, you're doing a perfectly fine amount of coverage. And there's the people who support me the most, and that's what I'm going to roll with. So no, Michael, you're going the wrong direction. Let's wait for something to happen.
No, but you didn't answer my question, though. I'm
one video.
I'm very curious. How do you think people are going to react to it? because you know there's going to be some people that, oh, look at Disney, they're supporting an abuser or whatever. Like, do you think it's going to be loud or,
We'll have to see if he releases the video cameras. No, the police body camera. I think that's the most important one. When that one's released, then you get to see that the cops orchestrated this entire thing, coaching her, say he choked you and all that. If that ever makes public light, then he's fine. And
do
whoever
they still
does,
have it, the body cam footage and all that?
do they have it? Where would it have gone?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because there's things with like guys trying to get rid of footage of stuff and whatnot.
So they still have it. And if that does get released, then that's fine. And anyone who still doubts it, there are radicals. And to those radicals, you just can't give them anything, whatever. Oh, you still think he did it? People think Kobe did it. People think Derrick Rose did it. There's just people who think things. I don't know. It's
people think OJ did it.
People think OJ didn't do it. We should say.
Well, that's the thing about it. I think it's going to be a bigger.
Where?
Oh no, you just said people think OJ didn't do it.
I think it's going to be a bigger response of people that because even when Tenoch Traorta got accused, and there was like people like there was just, even though we don't know if he did or not, there was just people coming out saying like, why are you in this drama when it's like, if he's innocent, like, it's not that he asked to be in this drama. It's some stuff people get accused of stuff, and it's not true. They're not asking to be in it. I mean, sometimes people do some stuff to tick off certain people, and they do something radical, like accuse him of something false. But I think Jonathan, if he's innocent,
sometimes they wear a badge.
That too. But overall, with Jonathan, even if he's innocent, there is going to be some backlash because people will just be mad at the fact, like, why was you in the drama? When it's like, he didn't intentionally want to be accused of doing this, this, and that. It's just the other person that people are choosing, willing to believe more, decided to be a douchey person, throw out a false allegation, and the narrative is already there. Like I said, Michael Jackson. People think Michael Jackson touched kids. People think he did it. I don't know. I know the FBI couldn't prove it, and they failed to. So
10 years. The FBI investigated him for 10 years.
Now.
And found nothing.
And to me, he's innocent right now. There's people who think he's guilty. They have no proof of it. They believe. But there's more people mad at the fact, like, Michael, why are you wrapped up in that situation? Why am I hearing Michael Jackson doing this with children, possibly? That's the messed up thing about it. Even
he held their hands in public during interviews. That's why he was holding hands with little boys while talking about having sleepovers with them at his Neverland Ranch to Barbara Walters. That's why he's got the heat. Jonathan Majors doesn't have that kind of heat for that reason. Jonathan Majors did not flaunt this woman around in front of the public, in front of Barbara Walters, saying, we have the best relationship in the world. Sit down, bitch. He didn't do any of that. Michael Jackson, on the other hand, did a lot of stuff in public, in front of cameras, that you can freely see if you want to go to the YouTube and look for it. And that's why the accusations came, because there was an easy target. Okay. They went after Jonathan Majors, who wasn't an easy target, is not an easy target, and is going to be very, very hard to prove that he did the things that they say that he did.
So why didn't they do everything that they did for Jonathan Majors with the dude from Namor? Like, because
that's what Terrence just said. He says it's interesting how Namor actor didn't catch the same smoke as Majors. Not that I believe any of it, just an interesting set. Well, Majors was arrested, and some people do value the opinion of a cop's arrest. I can see how when the news first is released, he was arrested. I guess he did.
You
something.
can say Jonathan Majors' name. That's for one thing. Can't say the other guy's name.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, Tenoch Traorta was he was just accused. Somebody came out and said some stuff that there's nothing really.
There's no investigation. There's no criminal activity there. There's nothing happening there other than somebody trying to extort somebody for money.
Yeah,
but where are all
the
Twitter
father
sleuths,
from
though,
Ms. Marvel.
detectives coming out with the receipts and all this other stuff and doing their due diligence?
They were donating to Ukraine.
No, that's kind of touching on the thing, though. There just happens to be more sympathy to the people who have lighter tones. And for Tenoch Traorta, if he was as dark as Jonathan, maybe he'd be guiltier also. I don't know.
Well,
I think so.
I think if he was bigger, if he was as big as Jonathan Majors, or had the potential that Jonathan Majors had, right? Because you don't get nothing for taking down these little guys, but you take down someone big, Harvey Weinstein, you know what I mean? Jonathan Majors, I'm not putting them on the same category. I'm just saying, though, you know what I mean? If you take down someone with a big name, it's more clout for you.
Right.
And he was going out with Megan Good.
I think people always been this way, but people just have a weird mentality of picking and choosing. I even seen it recently. Not sure if anybody saw the news about it, but the rapper Ice Spice, she did a music video. She had a 16-year-old girl twerking in her video, right? And when this happened, I seen a lot of dudes calling out. I seen some women calling out, but I seen some women going like, "Oh well, there's these male performer that did this with an underage girl in a music video. Why are you guys calling that out?" And it's like, look,
6ix9ine.
Well, 6ix9ine and other people. When it's like this, how about we just say they're both bad? Stop trying to do this whole like,
if they did it on purpose. Hold on, wait. If you just were doing something and there was not like if you knew what her age was.
Oh no, they all knew.
Everybody knew who that was, and they're like,
she was literally
not appropriate for a music
older
video.
Women.
Whoa,
like they all know.
But isn't the age of twerking consent 14? Like you had to be at least 14 to be able to twerk.
That's
another problem in the U.S. because the age of consent.
What state?
Every single New York.
I think each state is different. Yeah, New York and anything goes when it comes to
but the age of consent is different. Like each state, you either at 16 you can consent, 18 you consent. That's also another problem.
When we say consent, are we talking about intercourse or are we talking about dancing with your bum? Because consent, yeah, Trin, stop laughing a little. I keep looking at you and I'm like, I can't keep a serious straight.
Well, we can. Okay,
I don't think that
consenting to do acts like that on video.
So here's the thing:
you are a 16-year-old watching. You're attracted to 16-year-olds, so it's age appropriate for yourself. You're not right on time. You're not right on time at all. This is just a weird.
I think it's different if you dress drag.
And I just wanted to bring it up because that's the problem now. We have a bunch of people picking and choosing, even with the Tano Chawarta and Jonathan Major situation. I don't care if Tano Chawarta is a little name or not. He's accused of something heinous. Bash him the same way you would bash.
How about not bashing him? Finding out if it was true or not.
Yeah, find out if it's true or not. But like
keeping
the same energy. In my opinion, they all have allegations. I don't know if what they did was true or not. I am refraining.
The accuser needs to come forward with proof if any of that actually happened.
That too.
Talking from experience, none of it's true. I'm telling you.
Because I remember when the Jonathan situation happened, I just seen a bunch of people saying like, oh no, we got to immediately believe this girl. I'd rather believe this girl and be right about this and not be wrong about believing Jonathan Majors. It's like, well, just don't make a choice yet. Just wait, because at the end of the day, if I think Jonathan's innocent and he's guilty, I'm gonna look stupid. If I believe he's guilty and he ends up being innocent, I look like an idiot at the end of the day. Does not matter because I strongly believe that he was this before even waiting.
Oh, but people don't care now. They don't care. They just move on to the next thing.
And if you watch this video, Nonzo, if you watch this video of her using her hands, and this is after the alleged fight that happened, and she's perfectly fine, and you still think that he did it, then now you have a problem with accepting evidence that actually exists.
That's just the adrenaline to kick.
Was she the one in the white? The white shirt?
Yeah.
So why does she have two phones? Whose other phone was that? She had two phones?
I don't know, but she got two phones and she was perfectly fine with her fingers using it.
And she used his credit card through the whole night.
Your credit card the whole night, plus the fact that she goes to the club. People who were just mollywopped by their man.
Credit card too?
She had his credit card.
Yeah.
That's how he
spent like $6,000.
Yeah.
If she didn't take his credit card and go swiping it on a club night out, they
wouldn't have been able.
She would have been able to say, after he hit me, I had to hitchhike home. I got raped on the way there, and but because he knew where she was, that's how we were able to find this evidence.
She's in trouble. She used it basically without. Oh yeah.
But you see, and that's what I'm saying. To go back
That's
to what Kid
fraud.
was saying with the people, them saying how, oh, they're gonna believe her, whether you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's the problem because no one cares about what they're doing to this man's career right now, right? It's like, oh, we don't care. Let's just believe the woman because what? Because
You're supposed to. You're supposed to. That's
supposed to, and because yes, I get it. There has been a history of women being abused and stuff like that, right? 100%. But when you're believing everything with no facts, that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
You run into a small problem with things like that. If somebody comes up and lies to you about something, you have to make an assumption and investigate. And that investigation leads the assumption that something may or may not have happened. The problem is that the people that were investigating already had a conclusion that they were trying to draw evidence to find evidence for that conclusion, and that's wrong.
Yeah, there's evidence
that
something happened.
Somebody says something happened. You got to believe them for a second at least, and then you got to investigate it, and then you got to come to a conclusion. However, she came to them with a story, and they automatically knew it was the truth, and then started an investigation to prove it, and did their very best to try and do that, and that in itself, in some states, is a crime.
Yo, man, I think that wraps up our talk. That's about everything I wanted to talk about today. Mostly Secret Invasion. We talked about Killmonger, and we wrapped up with Jonathan Majors. Adnan says, "I hope it doesn't turn into another Johnny Depp Amber Heard." Too late. It already is that.
Oh, aren't they doing a Netflix documentary on the Johnny Depp and Amber thing?
That's happening? No.
I believe all Netflix documentaries.
I think it's a Netflix one coming. I'm not gonna watch it. I already canceled my subscription.
Believe All Women is goofy. Great point to Rosales. They didn't start an investigation. They started a witch hunt. The district attorney certainly did. He just says, oh, high profile case. If I can nail this celebrity, hey, Rolling Stones, go look into his history and see what he does. Robert Storm says, when Casey Affleck, a white dude, was that Ben Affleck's brother?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He won the Oscar. Damn. And I heard, was that the one when there was less clapping than there was, or am I thinking of Rami Malek for Queen, for Bohemian Rhapsody? Am I thinking of? But there was one Oscar, yeah.
No, I'd stopped watching the Oscars by then.
But yeah, they were comparing the applause level. Another great one, gang.
I didn't know he got accused of that. I mean, it makes sense why you don't see him in nothing.
Johnny was vindicated, right? I don't think Johnny was vindicated. I think we don't know if he did anything to her. We just know she's full of crap. He could have put his hands on her and all that stuff, right? I don't know.
Can you be found innocent in a civil court? Because if you can be found innocent in civil court, that's what happened with Johnny Depp.
Robert says when Nate Parker, a black dude, was I remember this story. I know a little bit about it. Brie Larson refused to clap for Casey Affleck. See, I did. Yeah, I did. But still, is it wrong of her not to clap for Casey Affleck after he wins an Oscar? If
it's wrong of her not to say something if she knew something, and that's what was wrong with Hollywood. I mean, all of them knew about Weinstein, and all of the comedians knew about Casey Affleck, and they the comedians knew about Cosby. Apparently, and what's his name? That other guy that was whipping it out after shows and comedy clubs in front of women. So,
yeah. And Rosales, don't forget to mention also Ben Affleck. He showed up on Weinstein's list of people that could potentially snitch on him. You can only snitch on somebody if you know the information.
Yeah, and none of them say anything, and all of them are basically complicit to any kind of crime that would have happened.
You know who doesn't get smoke for this? And I know we said we're going to end it. The women who did benefit from the relationships that they had with Harvey and who are in positions of accepting movies all over the place. You guys are cowards for playing the game, reaping the benefits of it. I can't rate you guys. And we don't know who they are.
It was a very similar thing with the R. Kelly situation. All the parents that was literally involved in pimping out their kids, they kind of got off scot-free. They just wanted R. Kelly when it's like they should be in jail too. The parents, they was literally pimping out their kids to Kelly, and they was like, nah, we just want R. Kelly. Like, no,
we want to talk about the heroic ones who said no and stopped and fought back. True. I'm also throwing shade at everyone who said, oh, all I got to do is sucky and I get movie role. Let's do it. Are you laughing because I said sucky?
You got you
pretty much, yeah.
You didn't say the full thing. Sucky for $10.
$10. And with that,
we love you long time.
Me so horny. Oh, me so horny. We're falling off the tracks. Hey, tomorrow Rosales Comics will be live streaming about 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. And if you're interested in Rosales Comics Sunday wrap up, check him out. I don't know if I'll be there or not. I really, hey, game time decision every single week. But I
mean, after that long thing we had, it's a good chance we're gonna be asleep. I probably won't be up until like maybe 12 in the afternoon. We literally started streaming at what time on my channel? 1 a.m, and then we streamed until 6:30 something.
Are you still awake from then? Yeah, you are, because you're watching Secret Invasion.
I had to sit through Secret. Chill. I was bored. I had to sit.
I will send you a link every week until you show up, K-Dot.
I'll try to be there. But there's no guarantee I'll even be awake. Hopefully I am.
Wait, K-Dot, did you do a stream at 4:00 in the morning?
No, 1. We started at 1 in the morning.
4 for us.
Oh yeah, 4 for us. Because I seen that this morning. I was like, this guy went. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah. We were live for like 5 of those hours. It was crazy.
It wasn't supposed to go that long, but conversation.
Wow.
Chillmonger came in here spreading his propaganda, and I was like, dang, I gotta stop this propaganda.
Nah.
It was a good conversation. I enjoyed it.
And if you want to be a member of the Chillmonger YouTube channel, it's $1 Canadian, and it's not that expensive, but it is support, and you'll get insight. The most important thing I put on my members channel was that talk about the new project that I'm doing, that's the comic series. I'll do an Oppenheimer review on my membership just because I don't want to talk about communism and that kind of stuff because the YouTube's not ready for that. What a plug. And then what else am I going to do with my members? I don't know what else, but I think the Oppenheimer stream is... I want to give enough, but I also don't want to overwork myself. Yo, you're a member, Trinity. You think it's appropriate if I do like an Oppenheimer and then like I lay off for like a week and then I give you another something, right? Like,
yeah.
Are you doing a Barbie review?
The Barbie review will not be done, and there's a good reason for that.
Because you have to see it one more time to make it 3.
Oh my God!
Don't fear the Barbie.
Because you're a chauvinist. You're part of the patriarchy.
Trinity, what are you doing on your channel?
Barbie might be at 1 billion next week.
I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be just flapping my gums about some of these movies coming out, shows, comic books, and sharing my terrible opinions on them and ranting and raving.
Onzov, your channel is Big Afford Entertainment. Big it up.
Yeah. Big Afford Entertainment. We do the Chaos shows on Mondays, OOC on Wednesdays. Fridays we do tournaments, man. It's always a pleasure. Chill. Thanks for having me.
Sunday wrap up, sir.
Sunday wrap up is going to be a good one. We're going to go over the week's events. Plus, we're going to be playing a brand new game. We've got an international panel from all around the world. So some people are awake, some people are not, but it's always a good time.
How long until he notices? It's all good.
Oh,
plug yourself, sir.
I am SJK. Sanctum. Go check out my most recent video about me talking about the Lois Lane and Amber comparisons going on. Go check that out. Get those views up on it. Please check it out. And also subscribe to the TikTok. I'll put the link in the description of that video. But go watch that recent video, guys.
And like we always say, deuces.